Hi guys. Okay, so now we're on day 2. So I'm gonna start with number 6. Okay, hooters, right? Shall use hooters of a vehicle except when use is necessary on the grounds of safety. You may not use a light motor vehicle on a public road unless it's equipped with a warning device, which is a good working order, and when used, capable of emitting a sound which is clearly audible by a person of normal hearing from a distance of 90 meters. Siren or warning device that play a tune may not be used in a private vehicle. Okay. Which one of the following is important about a hooter? That the sound, tone, or pitch must be consistent. Okay, I just want to see this less than 60. Is this... Yeah, it's 90. It must be audible for 90. So a hooter must be audible for 90 meters. Okay. Which of the following is important about a hooter? The sound or pitch must be consistent and may not change. And why B is wrong? Because they said 60, but the correct one is 90. Okay. You may not use your hooter to attract a vendor's attention to avoid... You may use your hooter to attract a vendor's attention, avoid a collision, relieve stress while driving, attract traffic office attention. So it's B, avoid collision. Why is it important in regard to the hooter of your vehicle? The tone and pitch may not change. Okay? If the tone and pitch may not change, someone must hear it at a distance of 90 meters. You may use it to get attention of someone you'd like to know. The tone and pitch may not change. That's only I. A hooter may be sounded to alert the driver ahead the traffic has changed. No. To warn the driver in front of you is rolling back into you. Yes. Only during the day. No, it doesn't matter. What is the rule regarding the hooter? You may use your hooter for safety reasons and it must be audible for 90 meters away. You may use your hooter of your vehicle to avoid collision, to attract a traffic officer's attention, to relieve stress while driving, A, to avoid collision. What is important with regard to the hooter of your vehicle? The tone or sound of the thingy may not change, and remember it must be audible within 90 meters. A hooter may be sounded to warn the driver in front of he or she is rolling back. Okay, which of the following is important about a hooter? The sound or pitch may not change, and remember the distance is 90 meters. It must be audible within 90 meters. You may use your hooter to avoid collision. The tone or pitch may not change. Okay. 7. The rider of a motor vehicle shall not give immediate rights of way to all emergency vehicles sounding a siren, displaying emergency warning light. So a driver of a motor vehicle shall give immediate rights. So you need to make way for any emergency vehicle. So your police, your ambulance, your fire trucks, whatever. You always need to give rights of way for them. Right? The following vehicles are recorded as emergency vehicles. So a firefighting is red. A firefighting response vehicle is also red. A rescue is red. An emergency medical response vehicle is red. An ambulance is red. Traffic officer is blue, and civil protection is green. Okay. If you come across an emergency vehicle on the road sounding a siren, you must always give rights of way. What is the correct procedure when you hear an emergency vehicle? You need to give right of way. Oh, but D is actually quite tricky. Hey, start hooting. No. Allowed safe passage. Yes. Stop right where you are. Move out of the way. Okay, just give it right of way. Okay. If you come across an emergency vehicle on a road sounding a siren, you must flash your headlights to warn other traffic. No. Give right of way of emergency vehicle. Yes. Switch on your vehicle and blow your hooter. No. Emergency vehicles sounding a bell, siren, warning device must be given a right of way. at all times. In a single carriage for you and a dual carriage for you, always. What do you do when an emergency vehicle approaches you? You give it right of way. Which of the following vehicles are regarded as an emergency vehicle? A fighting red warning, yes. Ambulance red warning light, yes. A vehicle with a traffic officer, yes. Civil protection, yes. If you come across an emergency vehicle on the road sounding a siren, you must give right of way, always. Okay. Seatbelt. Seatbelts are compulsory to wear when moving forward for children and adults, but it covers persons 3 years age and older. If a seatbelt are fitted, rear seat passengers must wear such seatbelt whilst the vehicle is driven. No adults shall occupy a seat in any motor vehicle unless each person wears a seatbelt. Occupy a seat on a row of seats which is not fitted with a seatbelt, unless all the other seats on the row which are fitted with seatbelts are already occupied. A child is defined as a person between the ages of 3 and 14, except when such person is taller than 1.5 meters, shall ensure that the child seated on a seat. So basically, if you are 3 years and older, you need to wear a seatbelt, right? And everyone in the car must wear a seatbelt, right? And if you are in the ages of 3 and 14, okay, a child is defined as a person between the ages of 3 and 14, except when the person is taller than 1.5. And ensure that the child seated on a seat. Okay, where it is available, use appropriate child restraint. If no child restraint is available, wear a seat belt when available. So you're a child between 3 and 14, and you need to, and if you're taller than that, then you're an adult. If you're taller than 1.5, and then where it is available, use an appropriate child restraint. If no child restraint is available, wear a seat belt when available. If a seat equipped with a seat belt is not available, the driver shall ensure that a child shall, if such motor vehicle is equipped with a rear seat belt, be seated on the rear seat. It's not compulsory to wear a seat belt while reversing or moving in or out of a parking bay or area. Okay. What is truth regarding a seatbelt? If your vehicle has a seatbelt in the rear, it must be worn, yes. When a seatbelt is in the front seat, you're only passenger, you may not sit in the back with no belt. Okay? You need not wear a seatbelt when reversing. Yeah. You're expected to wear your seatbelt when you're driving on the road. Yeah. When there's no seatbelt fitted on the front seat, child up to the age of 18 must sit at the back seat. True. What is true with regarding to seatbelts? If your vehicle has a seatbelt in the rear, it must be worn. You need to not wear a seatbelt when reversing. If the front seat has a seatbelt, your passenger may not sit at the back with there's no seatbelt. So 1, 2, and 3. So all of them are right. Okay. You may drive without a seatbelt when parking or reversing. Yes. If seatbelt has been removed, no. No. When is it not compulsory to wear a seatbelt? When moving in or out of a parking area, when reversing your vehicle. What is true regarding a seatbelt? That 1, if your vehicle has a seat in the rear, you must be worn by passengers, yet you need not wear a seatbelt when reversing. When a seatbelt is in front seat, your only passenger may not sit in the back seat with no seatbelt. When there's no seatbelt fitted on the front seat, children up to the age of 14 must sit on the back seat. True. When are you exempt of wearing a seatbelt when you're reversing or parking your vehicle? When may you drive without a seatbelt? When parking or reversing? Okay. You're expected to wear a seatbelt when you're driving on the road. You may not drive without a seatbelt when parking or reversing. Okay. 9. A light and heavy motor vehicle with a windscreen must be fitted with at least one windscreen wiper and must, when in operation, wipe the outside of the windscreen directly in front of the driver continuously, evenly, and adequately. The transparent windscreen of light motor vehicle must afford the driver sufficient visibility for safe driving, be of safety class, have visible light transmittance through the windscreen of at least 70%. How many windscreen? One, and it must be in front. How many windscreen wipers must light and heavy motor vehicles have when in operation? It must wipe the outside of the windscreen continuously, evenly, and adequately. Your vehicle must provide you with enough visibility for safe driving, have visible light transfer through windscreen at least 70%, be a safety class. The wipers of your windscreen should wipe the windscreen sufficiently and clearly wipe the outside of the windscreen directly in front of the driver. The windscreen of light motor vehicle must have a visible light transmitted through the windscreen of at least 70%. Okay, we're gonna do number 10. Efficient exhaust silencer, which must allow the exhaust gas from engine to be projected through the silencer, not emit exhaust gas or smoke from the engine which is so dense as to cause a nuisance to or obstruct the vision of other road users. Be in such a position that oil or other flammable liquids or materials cannot drip or fall onto it. Being so maintained that exhaust gas or smoke does not leak in driving cab or passenger compartments of the vehicle. A motor vehicle may not be used on a public road without an efficient exhaust silencer, unless the gas from the engine is projected through such a silencer. If the exhaust gas or smoke from the engine is so dense as to cause a nuisance to or obstruct the vision of other road users. If the exhaust pipe or silencer thereof is in such a position that the oil or other flammable liquids or material can drip or fall into it, is not efficiently working properly, is so placed and maintained that exhaust gas or smoke leaks in the driving cab of the vehicle. Okay. You may run your motor vehicle engine in a way that gives out smoke or fumes. No. What is the function of a silencer of an exhaust? To project exhaust gas from the engine through a silencer. So what does a silencer do? It takes the gas from the engine and takes it to the silencer to reduce the sound. Right? So there's exhaust, then there's a silencer, and then so there's an exhaust. There's an engine, there's a silencer, and there's exhaust. Yeah? So the engine emits gas. Then that gas goes into the silencer. Then the silencer helps reduce the noise, basically. Yeah, got it. So that's till 10. Okay, then the next day, since I'm a bit delayed, I will do 11 to 15 later on. So this video is just for now, then later on I'll do 11 to 15. Yeah, see you later.